In this video, I'll show you how I made 5 farmhouse decor DIYs using lavender. This is part of an open playlist titled Farm Fresh and Fabulous, and I'll tell you more about that later. For this DIY, I'm starting out with one of these little barns that I picked up at Valentine's time at Dollar Tree. And I'm showing you how you can loosen up that paper on there easily, or more easily than just picking. I sprayed it down with some water, laid a paper towel on top, sprayed a little more water on the top, and I left that to sit for about 5 minutes. When I came back, this is how easily the paper was tearing off or scraping off. I love that scraper tool that I got from Dollar Tree. I use it all the time. Anyway, you can see that not all of it got saturated and it's still stuck, so I just did a second application of water on there. Did the same thing, covered it up, waited 5 minutes, and then cleaned it up. I had a few spots along the roof line of this barn that I had to use my X-Acto knife on. Dollar Tree X-Acto knife too. And then I'll bring in that scraper and scrape that away. I'm going to be painting the barn with Waverly chalk paint in the color lavender. And I'm going to do all the sides and the top and the front of the barn. The only thing I'm not painting that will be seen is that roof line, and I painted it with Territorial Beige. I picked up a bunch of these after Valentine's Day at Dollar General. I got these little houses for 50 cents each, and you won't believe how they fit perfectly with the barn. I'm covering the house with some Hobby Lobby scrapbook paper that has a cotton bowl design on it. And instead of tracing and then cutting out, I'm just going to trace and cut at the same time with my X-Acto knife. I'm using paper Mod Podge to attach that. I'll put a thin, even layer on the front of the house, and then I'm going to put a bit on the paper as well. Trying not to get too heavy because then it will wrinkle up, as you know. And I'm concentrating on those edges too. I want to be sure those edges stick down and don't try to roll up on me. Now I'll just position that onto the house. And since this is the back of the sign that I'm working with, there's a little part that's sticking out. It was the stand. The stand on the back of the house is now on the front of the house. So I painted it white with apple barrel white acrylic just to make it blend in more with the scrapbook paper. Now I'm going to take some of these blossoms from a bunch of lavender from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put 2 together on the front of the house, kind of at the side, and then I'm going to wrap around with the green twine from Dollar Tree. I'll just wrap around and around several times. And then I'm going to tie a simple bow, and I want that to be right on top of the lavender bundle. Get my bow all straightened out, cut off the excess. And I'm going to be gluing those together with the side of the house and barn together and the bottom together. Look at that, how it looks like they were made for each other. So, hot glue on the back of the house. That used to be the front of the house. And I'm going to stick it down and make sure that I get the side and bottom lined up before that glue starts cooling down. It turned out so cute, I decided to do 2. But On this one, I'm going to be painting the house and putting the paper on the barn. I also put the house to the left side of the barn with this one. And then I'm going to wrap around the house and barn together with that green twine. And stick a couple of little pieces of lavender in there, and voila, it is finished. And I think these are so stinking adorable. I think the second one turned out better than the first. For this DIY, I'm using a plastic cloche from Dollar Tree, and I had painted it with the Waverly chalk paint in lavender, and it was just turning out too dark on top of that black. So I'm going to use the Folk Art Multi, that's the word I was grasping for, multi-surface paint. And while I'm painting this, I'll tell you more about this playlist for today. It's hosted by Chantel of Crafty Hints, Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY, and Amanda from 6 Kids and a Glue Gun. They've asked us to do at least 3 farmhouse inspired DIYs. I'll be leaving links to all their channels below so you can check those out, and a link for this playlist as well. So if you love farmhouse style, go check that out. Now for the lavender. Walmart lavender again, love it. Can't say enough good things about it. I pulled off 5 stems from that to put inside the cloche. But first I'm going to dig out some of these Dollar Tree rocks that I like. And I want to make a circle around the lavender, like so. Something like that. Just making sure that I'd be able to put the top of the cloche on there. And I'm just going to start gluing those down. I'm going to glue them in the center of that rock ring. I'm not gluing down the rocks because it takes E6000 for those to set up. The last time I did rocks on plastic or wood, it didn't stick. So now that I've got all those blooms glued down, I'm using some reindeer moss to go in around those rocks at the bottom. Make it look a little more natural. And I had to use my heat gun to get rid of those little spider web hot glue strings. Now I'm going to bunch everything together, put that cloche top over all that. And I'll make sure to get all those little pieces of the reindeer moss away before I glue it together. Yes, I'm going to glue this in place. I do have cats. They do get mischievous, and I'd hate for this to get knocked off the table and have to pick up that reindeer moss. So I figured out what I wanted to be the back side, because this cloche actually has a little crack on it, and I got it for 50 cents. Nobody will ever see the back side, doesn't matter. Now taking this bag of pearl beads from Dollar Tree, I'm going to stick one right on the top, out of frame, so you can't see it. I hate it when that happens, don't you? Anyway, it's just, I just put it on the very top where that little indentation was. Now using some Dollar Tree pearl wrap that is already has an adhesive on the back. I'm going to cut down the side so I can have a longer piece. And this stuff kept sticking on my scissors. And here I'll show you how I'm putting it around. I started at the back, went all the way around with that pearl wrap. I was about 1 inch short, but like I said before, this is the back. Nobody's going to see it. Only I know it's there. Well, and you. And I know you're not going to tell anybody. So that's about it. This is so adorable. I wish you could see what I'm seeing in person looking at it. Pictures don't do it justice. It is just so stinking cute. I love it. For this DIY, I'm using a freebie. Somebody thought to throw this out like it had no use anymore. But I say, yes it does. Just needs an upgrade. I'm painting the frame with, not Apple Barrel, that's the Waverly chalk paint in white. Going over the wood with this, it kind of yellowed a bit, but I do like that it did that. It seems to give it more of a rustic look to do that. Once the paint was dry, I used my Dollar Tree sanding block and just went here and there, hitting the high spots, making it look old and worn, distressed. Now for the picture. I'm not using the palm tree. I'm going to be using this picture with lavender inside. And I found this online, and I think it is so pretty. Before I put the picture in, I noticed the picture in the picture was kind of getting lost on the page. I don't know if it's because my ink's running low on my printer or if it's supposed to look that way, but anyway, I used a light brown pencil and outlined the picture so it would stand out on its own more, and that's how it turned out. Pretty. And the background's kind of a light gray with white lace on top. And yeah, it's very pretty. For this DIY, I'm using one of the Dollar Tree bicycle wheels. And I'm taking one of those Walmart lavender bunches and just kind of weaving in the spokes to hold it in place. And then I'm going to use some of this twine. I think it's twine. It feels like it's a mixture of twine and yarn together. It's rougher than yarn, but not as tough as twine. Anyway, I'm going to go all the way down, just tying regular knots. I'm not doing macrame or anything like that. I'm just securing the stem of these lavender bushes. Then I'm going to take one of the amaranthus from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to weave the stem of it going in the opposite direction toward the lavender. You can see on the back what I'm doing here. And then I'm just going to tie that down as well, just like I did with the lavender, using that yarn twine. I'm going to tie this lavender ribbon around. Now this was in the Easter section, Easter decor section of Dollar Tree. I don't know if they still have this or not. I would think not. Mostly they just have burlap ribbons in my store. But anyway, I'm tying a simple bow on there, wrapped all the way around that stem, flipped up my bow loops. And then after it was done, I thought, maybe I should have used buffalo check, or maybe buffalo check with the lavender. This is ribbon that I picked up at Hobby Lobby because I couldn't find any at Dollar Tree, and I like using this. It's not strictly Farmhouse, even though it does give a Farmhouse touch. I like using it for different projects. And what I'm doing to tie this on, I'm going to have a lavender loop on each side of that knot. Hope you can see what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to make some little loops with that ribbon. And there's how it turned out. You know, I think that little pop of buffalo check really sent it to another level. This is so pretty. Love that bright color of the amaranthus. Now for our last DIY, another freebie. Somebody threw out this basket. It looks like, well, it is. It's a farmer's market basket. You go to the farmer's market, they got their stuff in these baskets. Sometimes you get to take the basket home. Sometimes they pour the fruits or vegetables into a plastic bag for you to take home. Anyway, I don't want the handle on there, so I was just pulling out staples with my needle nose pliers. And then I'm going to use some folk art antique wax and just scuff it up. Just dirty it up, scuff it up. And this wood, whatever kind of thin wood that is, was really absorbing that antique wax. I was going to wipe away in those heavy areas a little bit, and it wouldn't go anywhere. Now this is the bunch of flowers that I took the blooms off for the cloche. I'm going to cut at that first notch there for it to fit into the basket like so. Yeah, this is like a little miniature tobacco basket. That's what I was searching for. Looks like a little tobacco basket. Now using the last bit of that lavender ribbon, I'm tying a knot at the end of the stem. And I'm going to put the glue on the ribbon instead of having glue on the plastic sticking to wood. I just thought it would adhere better that way. And then I'm going to add my last bit of buffalo check. I don't have enough to tie a bow on this one, so I'm just going to dovetail the ends and tie a loose knot up under that lavender bow. I'm just going around one of those stems and tying a loose knot. And after a little bit of fluffing, this is done. Simple as that. Before I get into the final look, I'd like to tell you how much I appreciate you for taking part of your day to watch my video. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. And if you think you'll craft one of these items, comment below and tell me which one you might do for your own. Is it the printable, bicycle wreath, the barn and house, the cloche tobacco basket? You know, out of all 5 of these, I have to say the cloche is my favorite. Believe it or not. It just doesn't come through as well in pictures. The cloche is adorable. So now that you're finished here, go and check out the Farm Fresh and Fabulous playlist. And until next time, bye-bye.